keep it in my keychain.
Nice.
But I got it because you all started on it. That's where I learned about it.
Okay. Chat. Okay, we're just going to check and see if it's...
Here we go. Now we're moving. Okay.
I can't see you. I hear you.
Yeah, we're here. We can see you.
Okay. Can you hear me? I know you can hear me. So.
Okay, we're just going to check.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting because this is a subject we need to go into, and you have firsthand experience on this stuff, so I think it's going to be an interesting subject.
Yeah, every time you brought it up that I've been on the other side just listening, I'm like saying things, I'm responding to, I'm like, yes, and this, and like I'm just like adding on. So this is really wonderful because I kind of felt like that responsibility, and I've been going out and doing it myself,
right?
Especially since you have called so many to do it so, and I have in turn called them out to do so as well, and seeing only few do so.
Right.
Or continue to do so. Maybe some started and then they stopped. But yeah, you kept going. You and Jeep and Gail and Lisa actually was the one who really. You were sent into my life when I was coming to terms with it all, and I had already had a spiritual awakening, and in fact the latest one was taken advantage of. It started as like he brought me in as a healer. That wasn't even he wasn't even using the industry to manipulate that one.
Right.
I was so-called being brought in as a healer, and he used awakened messaging, and that's what's so important, however you want to bring it up. But I see others like him, and I've saved girls. I'm literally helping save some girls who are in situations with. There's guys like this all over the place. They're kind of like copycats, like Epstein, Weinstein, Diddy copycats, right?
Mm-hmm.
In a sense, or wannabes, or maybe they're trained by, for all I know. Like, but they're like very similar kind of tactics and patterns and grooming.
Yeah.
Stuff.
So why don't you introduce yourself and then go ahead and start with your story of how you got involved and what happened to you, and then we can go over some other stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Well, a lot has happened, but most of it has been through the industry, and that's what's so important. I feel like it has to really get out there that it's happening on every level. And since learning about you and hearing you and Gail and others share different ways it's happening in different industries, and then as a human race, I went deeper into how it's happening in my industry still. And I'm connecting a lot of the dots from situations I had with Weinstein, literally, Diddy, literally, and I escaped the hands of Epstein, thank God, because somehow spirits talked to my mom and told her that this was a trafficking ring and to run. And so that was before. That was like before the beginning of before social media, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't even know what that was, besides another messed up, creepy photographer situation. And they had drugged me, and I had woken up naked and So there's nude pictures of me out there, and I heard him. He was always talking to some guy named Jeffrey, but I didn't think anything of it until later on, and until recently, actually, after you came into my life and started describing, or actually just backing up what Drew had shared about the children and that level, which is a whole nother level of intensity of like violent, obvious. If anyone knows about human trafficking or child trafficking,
So
it's obvious, right? But there's so
yeah.
many ways that it's going on that it's not obvious, that it's set up to trap, manipulate, coerce, and then get you in a situation that uh, is a trafficking type of situation. And it's going on still in Los Angeles. I literally had to go help two girls at a so-called, and see, they go under guises of fashion shows or a photo shoot or content collaborate, like they use it as a guise. And we now I know red flags, and there's other girls coming out of the woodwork telling me these stories, similar tactics, similar situations, similar stories, similar patterns, similar and a lot of them are the same names, so there's different circles of them that are still functioning. So it's very frustrating.
So what? I
To
mean,
be on my own.
what was the earliest age that you saw all this, and when you started, and then when you actually were involved in the situation? I mean, tell me about that first time that you were in a situation.
Uh, well, it, I moved. I was sent to New York at like Elite took me to New York at 14, 15, and there was a sexual class action lawsuit case, and I had no idea what that meant. But there were models and bookers coming at me, asking me, telling me all these crazy stories, and asking me to be involved. But nothing had happened to me up till that point. And my booker ended up quitting the industry and warned me. She's like, "You're a virgin, and you're you don't need to be a part of this. You're a Christian." At that point, I was a very, very Christian virgin girl, and she was Christian, so she left the industry, and she warned me. And then so when they came to me and asked me to be a part of this class action lawsuit case, jump to now, I see it with Jean-Luc Burnell and like all of these elite people who girls have come together and sued. During that time, that's what was going on, but I had no idea. So I ran. So my mom's just like, well, go to another agency, because I had a few different, the top agencies, what they said was top. Meanwhile, I wanted to be with Ford, but I had gone to Elite, and they were creepy with that sexual lawsuit case. So then I went to Click, and they sent me to a photographer who wanted me to masturbate. And I said, no, that's not part of modeling, and I'm a virgin, and I'm a Christian, I don't do that. He said, if you don't do what you're told, then you'll never make it in this industry. Let's go home. And I was like 15. And so I went and told the booker, and he said, well, did you do it? And I said, no. And he said, well, if you don't do what you're told, then we can't continue to work with you. So I just left. My mom, I went back home because my family lived in New Mexico, and this was in New York. I was going back and forth, and mom was making me finish school. So my mom really was, she was an old hippie, just more awakened. And I think she was like you. I think she's like a seer, and God was letting her know like each situation, because then she's like, oh, that doesn't matter. Name, I don't care how big they are. Run. That sounds bad. Run, run, run. So anyway, so then I went to Wilhelmina, and same type of creepy stuff, even weirder. They were like sending us models to go recruit other models to
Right.
then send us to these creepy, weird, nasty old foreign men who seemed like they weren't even fashion at all. And later to find out, some of their names I put, or some of their faces I've now names to. And anyway, so continuing on, my mom's like, oh, just go to a medium size agency. So I moved on down and just like humbled myself to go with, like, from the bottom up, and yet every level kept having a different situation that they would send us to. So then the medium one sent us to the celebrity parties, and came Diddy, like the white parties, right? So
Right.
that's part of how they did it when you came in from the bottom up and they saw you weren't going to sacrifice and do some kind of weird sexual trafficking, whatever they were trying to do at the other three top ones. And then I later found out all the top ones, even Ford and IMG, the ones I wanted to be with, they were doing the same shit. So it's like, it was all, okay, so medium ones. They then sent us to Diddy's white party, but they send you as a job from like the bottom up. You're starting out as, I don't know, they call it atmosphere modeling, but you have to be a part of their party. So Diddy and some other celebrities were there, and they were creepy AF. Like, so me and another girl saw some of the creepy things they did to physically to some of the other girls. So we acted like we were lesbians, so they wouldn't touch us. So instead, they were like, "Oh, you want to come to our after party and get freaky? There's freaky stuff going on." And I said, "No, no, no, no." And he kind of like pushed us away, like down the table. We got sent back for the next weekend, because it was like every weekend a lot of celebrities would like have these parties at different clubs, and they would hire agencies to send models, like, but at that time we didn't know. We were just being sent to a job as far as we knew. So anyway, so I went back and he recognized me. He was like talking to me like a tomboy, thinking I'm lesbian. And I started talking to him about church, because he kept inviting me to this party. So then I told him, no, 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 I don't do that. Because they're like, freaky. Oh, you want to get freaky? Thinking I'm lesbian. So he was talking to me like, oh, come to our freaky after party. And I said, no, you come, I'll come to your after party. I don't know how I said it, but I gave him the negotiation of like, you come to my church with me, and then we'll talk about going to your after party. Like, show up at my church. And I told him where it was, because it was a big church in New York City. And then we'll talk about the after party. Well, he never showed up at church, and I ended up getting let go from that job and let go from the agency. Kicked out of the models department on my own. The other models, I tried to get them to roommate with me, and they told me what the agency said, that the client said I was difficult, so they had to drop me and to stay away from me, because I was not formable to become whatever they had going on, right? Because I was like saying no, and I don't know. Now I understand it, right? Like why, but at the time it felt like such rejection. So as I saw him rise, I was like, oh, whatever, you know, fuck him. I don't need to work for him anyway. I have enough other things going on.
I know.
Now all of this is coming to head. I'm seeing the connection of all of it. And so many other celebrities and different models and actors of all levels, who have experienced him in different types, who kind of skirted away from him like I did, or not, even worse, had all undergone some kind of career sabotage, or worse, right? So I'm actually grateful, because the testimonies and the other survivors coming out, I see like other people went through way, way worse and have like their souls. I mean, who knows how they're going to work their way back, but like, I didn't see anything because I said no, I didn't go, right? But others who did have different testimonies that really resonated with a lot of what I went through. And he's not the only one. So a lot of people with any kind of power, or if it can make you think they have any kind of power to get you any kind of work, and you're any kind of talent in this town, they're going to be some kind of Diddy Epstein like manipulator. So it's going on all levels.
So let me ask you a question. I want to ask you some questions. So
yeah,
but would you say the percentage of Hollywood, would you say 90% are into pedophilia?
I I have wanted to ask you that question.
Oh, I think it's up there pretty
You have
high.
such
I mean,
insight.
and you've witnessed it and saw it in a different way. And I've done the remote viewing, and I've talked to family members and stuff like that. But it's pretty high. I mean, it's part of Hollywood. Once you get in Hollywood, that's part of the whole scenario of because they want evidence against you on everything. It's
Right.
just,
And I
sorority
think
of things.
I
Um,
skirted around that, and I think I didn't get as much success because I wasn't going to, they didn't see me even sacrificing myself to any kind of level other than like being starting out as background or atmosphere, right? And that's humbling because I see it as, oh yeah, that I come from real artist parents, work my way up. I'm not going to sacrifice my sexual moral beliefs, all that stuff. But now seeing that, looking back, they make you sacrifice something at every level, and if you don't sacrifice it, you don't move up. So just take that and look at anybody who's moved up to any level and just consider that. That's what I've had to consider since waking up. And it's hard because I'm like, oh, wow, I really actually thought they were good. But actually, if they're up there at any kind of level, they have sacrificed more than me. And I know
right.
I've sacrificed more than I've wanted to. So I don't know, you do the math. I would
Well, the
love to.
success of the parents bringing the kids to Hollywood, and what I've noticed too is they don't care how far their children reach as long as they get there. Let's use Justin Bieber as one too. His mom did the same thing.
Well,
You know,
yeah,
so-
actually, I have a friend, Corey Feldman, remember him?
yeah.
Yeah, an 80s, 90s legend, right? I was sent to an audition. He was looking for angels for Corey's Angels. He was trying to be like a Hugh Hefner when the Playboy Bunny reality show was out. I think he was trying to make a comeback because he had been hurt so much, right? I didn't know any of that story. I just remembered him from the awesome 80s movies. So I did the audition for him and I just talked to him like a fellow actor who I admired. And he was so cool with me. He ended up like hiring me and asking me to be a part of his like angel parties and stuff. But he saw that I wasn't like the other girls, so he didn't have me do anything inappropriate. He had me bartend instead, so I did something where I didn't have to partake of anything that they were doing. And so he saw that at the end when I went to go get my bartending fee from him, and so I was studying energy healing at the time at Lionheart Institute, as well as doing acting and modeling. And he's like, somehow he saw something healing in me because I said no to him when he asked me if I wanted to do, you know, that Molly or E or whatever. And I told him,
Yeah.
yeah, and whatever my response was, made him. I think it's something like, "No, I'm a healer, so I'm actually." I think I said that stuff puts holes in your aura or something, and so then he started talking about, "Oh, I need healing," and so I said, "Well, I'm actually studying energy healing. If you want, I'm going to have to do 5 case studies to get my certificate. Do you want to be one of them?" And he said that, yeah, I would love that. And so I helped him kind of I would like to think that I was used to help him go deeper on his healing. And but a lot came out that, let's just say he's telling the truth. Like it's everything that he ever shared or tried to share that people spun another way is actually true.
Let me ask you a question. Have you
And
ever
his parents supported it. That's the craziest part.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Have you been down in the duns in LA? Have you heard about people being down in those areas? Can you tell me anything about that?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked about that because when you shared about that before, I was like, oh, Jenny, I want to tell you. Yes, people who say that's not true, that's not true. That's not true because it is true. They're there. I've modeled at the Getty Museum many times.
Really?
Yeah, it used to be one of
How
my
was
favorite.
that?
places to model at because it's so beautiful and it's like up above, away from all the craziness of the city. But I didn't know what was going on, at the time. But I felt weird, some weird energy, but I wasn't, I was still like Christian awakened, right? I wasn't like, the Great Awakening in the past few years awakened, whatever you want to call it, whatever's happening now, right? Past the veils. So, but I was always feeling energy. I'm a feeler. My mom's a seer. And so something always felt off there. And they always paid us less than $100, which I thought was crazy because everyone in town knows they have more money. I mean, Getty, Netflix, and Disney have more money than God. So why would they pay their talent less than $100 in 2020 something, right? Like, that's disgusting, first of all. But so I just started not feeling right about them. And then COVID happened and they shut down. Then my friend Drew dropped so much on Telegram that blew my world right open. And then you shared more too, that just confirmed everything about the D.U.M.B.S. I mean, we didn't call them that. They just take you underground. Like, that's
Right.
Yeah, they have a bunch of rooms and like a whole world underground. And so it's like, it wasn't like a bad, like, you wouldn't think of it at the time as a bad thing. And for me, there was nothing bad that happened other than because the group that took me under was like fine artists, actually, like artists who, I mean, they actually paid us and they didn't like take advantage of us physically or sexually, but they still, I think they took advantage by paying us less than $100 when we were doing like fine art modeling. Like,
Well, I don't think they don't look at you as any value. They,
right.
to them, it's a mental game, and
Like,
they
you're
don't,
just
they
an
don't
object.
care. They do not care about anybody.
Yeah. And so I felt that. And so I was happy, kind of, in a sense, when they well, in many senses. And then that sense just grew and grew and grew when they got shut down. And then when the fires happened. And then, so the other day, I drove by, I was with a friend on the way to an audition with supposedly a company that wants to like still do film and television, but outside the matrix. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll check that out. So we'll see. I'll let you know how that goes. But so we were on our way. We passed by the Getty, and there was crazy construction underground. Like, it looked like it was underground construction, but it like comes out of the mountain. And I'm like, what's going on over the Getty? It's just like, who knows? Something is always going on over there since COVID. There's always like some crazy construction. And then I remember what you shared last time on your live, or I don't know, it was somewhat a recent live or two. You shared something about that being taken care of more and ever since COVID. And I think they've been dismantling it because it makes sense, because they never hired us back. Like, they stopped the entire function of letting artists even do that thing. They don't even have that anymore.
Did you see any younger kids and those?
And you know what's even crazier? Right before you called me, there's a producer who wants me to do a show, which I feel like shows are missions now, to save people and awaken them. But she's like, oh, I'm trying to get Getty to come to the show, because Getty Images, they have images, right? They freaking traffic our images like forever, because they don't pay our images. And they don't even pay their photographers who they send out to get them, but they put them in their archive, and they make us all think that it's like a currency and an exchange to, instead of, we're not going to pay you for your time in this show because Getty's here. So we should still get the photo and the pay, right? Like, we're still human. The photo's not going to pay the rent. So they're still doing, like.
Can I ask you what agency hired you through that? To do that?
Well, for Getty?
Yeah.
For the Getty Images, they do it, whatever show can get them to send out photographers. So they do it all over. And the art modeling situation, though, that I got recommended by another model who ended up being not a nice person. So I'm kind of not surprised. But,
Right.
you
So
know,
what's the youngest age group that you saw in the Getting?
during the art modeling, you have
Yeah.
to be at least 21 because it's fine art. So they want to see the figure, but it's not anything sexual. So it's, you know, it's artistic. So it's like, you don't think anything of it because it's part of, if you're an adult professional performer, you know, art modeling is more consistent and they respect you and pay you. At least they respect you as an equal or as someone who actually needs money. They don't pay you as much as you deserve, but better than most of the other circles out there in Hollywood and fashion these days. Don't even pay you at all. In fact, they'll use you and charge you to use you, and then maybe drug you and abuse you and traffic you, and like it's horrible what is happening. And I feel like I just
So what have you
watched it
seen? What have you
crumble.
seen? How are you seeing the law enforcement involved in this situation?
Not at all.
Okay, can you explain that? Can we talk about that?
Yeah, I would love to. I've been wanting to ask you about that because I know, you know, the military, there's military operation stuff going on, but I don't see them stepping into Hollywood or fashion or
Well, I'm talking about local police. What I'm saying is
music.
I want to know what you've seen for the police getting in this process, or they've been active in it, or they ignore it, or what have you seen,
Not that
or
I've seen
they're involved in it?
nothing. In fact, I myself, when I go to them about anything or any other survivors who's gone to them, they get laughed at, like, oh, welcome to LA. It's like, it's,
The joke.
yeah, like it's normal. Like they don't care. It's almost like this. I don't know. Like it's I forget. I don't know how to say it, but like a Twilight Zone to them. Like it's something that's there but not there, and they don't have to, like, you know.
Well, they don't have to
complacent.
address it because they're paid not to address it.
Yeah,
They're
but
paid
then
to look the other way.
yeah, and then we realized that we're in, like, oh wait, our state is like basically a lawless state.
Right.
So, of course, they think everything and anything that we're going through, if we're not part of the elites whose houses burned down, then they don't go. They don't care.
Right.
Yeah. So there's so many precious, talented artists and awaken. I think so many starseeds I see who are starting to wake up, who still, like, they still want to. They have these artistic gifts within the industry, and they are starting to wake up and having their awakening journeys, but they still have to work and they still want to be their artist self, but that, like, what else? And then they go back to what's going on, and it's like, well, I don't even know what's going on anymore because there is no. And I'm part of the union, but the union doesn't even get involved.
Right.
When my manager tried to have sex with me and then took my contract and sabotaged it because I rejected him and pushed him away, and I told the union, they told me to stay on the down low or to go fight it, but that they can't be a part of it in court because they can't afford it.
I think Hollywood's,
So,
it's like their own little world,
yeah.
and they make the rules and they pay everybody off, and literally don't care because it's so evil.
No,
And
they don't care unless you made some kind of sick, crazy sacrifice. And if you didn't, then they want you to keep sacrificing your dignity, your pay, your image, there's no working your way up from the bottom, because once you do that, then they want to keep you there until you sacrifice something sick or crazy or hurtful or something more than what they've already taken from you. So
Right.
it's and then I have friends who lost out to Lady Gaga because they didn't sacrifice a human being in their life.
They did what?
They did not. She did not. I actually referred her to you. She's a seer as well. She thinks she was part of the secret space program. Like that's why they went after her. But anyway, I would love to connect her with you. But it was between her, Kesha, and Lady Gaga, and they had to sacrifice a human, like a friend, a person in their that they knew, their friend or family, and she wouldn't do it. She couldn't do it because she's a loving healer soul. And so Lady Gaga got the deal and Kesha got the other deal, and they became huge. And now look at Gaga, right? It's like, so I don't know. If you take that's one story, and that percentage and that's like, yeah, I would say that'd be 90%.
What do you think happened to Justin Bieber?
Oh, well, Drew knows him, so I would love for you to talk with Drew someday. But he was Diddy got him. Diddy got him when he was like a baby, not a baby, but like
Very young.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
preteen, if that.
What about Britney Spears?
Oh my God, I don't know. I was gonna ask you what is going on, because okay, let me tell you. Even before my friend shared you with me, even before I went further on what Drew was sending me, I had a friend send me a very lucid, realistic, and I know it was the real thing, confession from Brittany to the courts of California. She was asking for help from her crazy situation, and she was describing what it was, and then she defined the most simplest form of human trafficking, and that's what was happening to her at a different level, and she said is happening to all of us at a different level. And that is what started me really realizing that I was, not only was I a survivor of many different of situations like that, but I'm seeing that at every level, many of us are, the majority were victims to it, and obviously sacrificed whatever extent if they got to whatever point, and then started to say something, and they got like their handler MK Ultra. Look what happened to Kanye, right? So I think Brittany the same thing, because in her statement, and the last time I heard from her before her social media got some kind of AI whack stuff on it, she sounded very lucid, and she actually, because of her defining what it actually, like the most simplest form of human trafficking, I'm able to help educate others in the industry who are going through it at different levels. And I would love to thank her one day. I saw her in the bathroom one day before the shaved head thing when they started to take her kids away, and she was crying. It was a bathroom at like a fancy club, and so there was a lot of people there, so I couldn't really have a deep conversation with her. But I put my hand on her back and told her that I would pray for her, because that's where I was at spiritually at the time. But now I would have sent her like energy healing right there, right? But and I feel like I wish I could go back and do that. But wherever she is, I hope, and maybe you could find out, see how you feel about it. But I'm hoping that because of her confession to the courts, the white hats came in and like offered her, come on, like, you want to go into protection until this all comes out? Like, that's what I'm hoping. I hope she, like her, Michael Jackson, and some of the good ones are with the white hats.
Yeah, well, Michael's been with them for a long time. So,
Okay, so maybe that's where she's at. And they're just letting
uh,
everybody think that her social media. I don't know.
right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I would love to thank
I
her
want to
one
go
day.
more into the younger children.
Yeah.
What have you bared witness on seeing traffickers, and I'm talking about where you have seen them move them, hire them? What have you seen around that crowd? I mean, this is a very touchy subject, but it's something that people need to know too.
Yeah. Yeah. And well, I'm a lot of younger models that whose parents are around come to me and ask me to like mentor or watch out for their children um, at different points. So I've seen probably, I think she was 13, 12, 13,
Hmm.
maybe 11, 12, 13. I mean, she was kind of in the scene for a few years in the same circle that I was doing shows with. But that was also the same time and that I was learning that they were doing the make you pay to do a show or not pay you to do a show. And then they're having people come and they're selling tickets and then they're introducing models to different people, older, sometimes a lot of times older people. Um, and they call them designers, photographers, whatever, and you don't know who's really who's really not. So every time I was in a show that she was in, I felt like I had to protect her because they would come at her like a like a moth to the flame or like vultures. And she I should check on her because I tried to tell her mom as I was learning about the trafficking situation after I heard. I think I might have even tried to tell her about Brittany's
Yeah.
definition and confession. Um, and a lot of them kind of have this like they want to deny it and like that is actually happening, but then they'll like I don't know. It's kind of like a bypass. I've heard you and Jeep and Marissa speak about it. It's like they hear you, but then they kind of keep talking, and it's almost as if you didn't say it. And you're like, okay. Well, so since then I've stopped. I'm very well. I have to also pay bills as long as we're still in this matrix simulation. But um, I'm now seeing that they're not paying at any of these things. So I only take them on as missions once in a while if God's spirit really puts it in me to that there's someone there who needs to be educated or saved or helped or watched over or mentored or whatever. So and that those have come up more often, but there's other girls now coming up who want to help me do that. So I was really happy to kind of hear that others are kind of starting to speak up about what it really is because
Mhm.
at first like the child's mother and the child, she was beautiful. She was like 11 or 12 maybe, and I felt like I couldn't say anything because I started modeling at that age, but I did tell her mom, had my mom known what I'm telling you, she would not have let me
Right.
continue. So I don't know if they've continued. I should reach out to them. But she was autistic, the daughter. So it
Hmm.
was even that much more worrisome to me because she could be misunderstood or misunderstand something very easily, as well
Right.
as being a child. So that's one that sticks with me very much because it was just a few years ago. But I never saw anything inappropriate happen because her mom was around. But I just know a lot of those productions that I I did shows with her on were awful, evil
What
productions.
about let's talk about Disneyland.
Oh
Tell me
God,
what you
the
heard
devil's
in
land.
that and witnessed in that process of Disneyland.
Uh, oh my gosh, I hate it. How is it still standing? When is it gonna burn down? Oh my gosh. No, it's I don't even know how to begin with that. Okay, so there's different jobs that I've done and that Disney was in charge of. Um, because they kind of own everything. They've bought everything slowly, and
In the county in LA, or are you in that county? Is that what you're talking about?
yeah, well, yeah, in Hollywood though, like Disney bought Marvel. Disney bought. I think Disney bought Miramax. Like Disney's like buying up a lot of the productions, but Disney. Okay, where do I even begin with this? But basically, I'm gonna just like lay it out. You can go. I would love for her to talk to you. She should come on your show someday. Epstein's niece is she explained it. Disney is her grandfather,
Uh-huh.
and he along
Epstein's niece
yes,
is Disney's the granddaughter.
yeah.
Okay.
So and Disney and her dad and Epstein are all part of the pedophile, the cult, the BAAL cult, the Luciferians,
Mm-hmm.
who call themselves Jews or whatever. So she lays it all out very clearly in some of her more recent interviews, and it really helped me connect the dots because um, when I have been dragged to Disneyland, I've seen like the little dolls in the It's a Small World, like they look like little demons coming alive.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh, is it just Disney or is it me? But I've always felt like I never felt good there. I always hated it. So then I jumped to Hollywood, well, in New Mexico. Oh, this is very odd. New Mexico, Zorro Ranch, they filmed a lot of things out there. And I'm from there. And after I left New York and Miami, scene from all of that abuse, I went to New Mexico thinking that the film industry would be more respectful. And they were in New Mexico. They were filming at Zorro Ranch. There was a Disney movie, and they cast me to play one of the Disney prostitutes. And it was with,
Wait a minute. A Disney prostitute? What's that?
yeah. Well, they were in the story because it was a Western,
Right.
like a Disney Western. So in the story, in the script, they call it like a Lady of the Night or like a Red's Girl. And so I was featured right away with one of the stars because she was the madam in the scene. And I was cast as one of her main girls. So they told me that they needed to make sure that I could act like a prostitute. So I had to go do an audition at the director's house like that week because in New Mexico they came in from Hollywood, so it was like you wouldn't question wherever they tell you the audition was, but like in Hollywood, if they try to send you to their house, like no, you can't do that because that's under the union law. But in New Mexico, they don't respect the union. It's a twilight zone. But I didn't know that. Anyway, so they sent me to the house and they told me that I really had to actually like um, act it all out and drink the drinks. And so I didn't have the full drink, but I remember a sip, maybe two. And then I woke up once again naked. And he told, threatened, not say anything, and told that this footage would have gotten me, open doors for me in Hollywood, but I didn't because I didn't follow through like a real prostitute. I guess maybe I passed out. I don't know. Like I'm not even sure what happened, but he like basically made me feel like I failed the audition. but I felt like I was sent home like violated. So it was odd. But then I had to go back to set because it was a recurring part. And this is my union card hadn't come in the mail yet. So they weren't respecting me as a union because they weren't called to under the law there. And like there's just a lot of weird, creepy things that continued happening throughout shooting that entire film. And come to find out now that Epstein, like a few of my friends are Epstein survivors, like from Zorro Ranch. Like he had an underground lab under Zorro Ranch. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I wonder if they were working with him because of Disney, right? Like, or, but either way, like just the energy, I'm not surprised that energy was so dark when I was on doing that. And then, so jumping to LA, right? I moved to LA and find out that Disney like takes over the whole industry. And so I was doing art modeling to pay the bills in between crazy Hollywood. And so they sent me like Getty, right? But they sent you to Disney to do like figure modeling or character modeling because they like performers to actually do like the modeling from the animators. But they paid less than $60 and never never raised it. And then so after COVID happened and inflation, many of us didn't go back. And that's when I completely put together all the pieces because like some of my Epstein friends sent me his niece's interview, and I realized, oh, well, that makes sense. Okay, so if he is an evil pedophile piece of shit, then like that explains so much of all of my experiences. I've had many sets I was sent to where like it's a different production, but it's still Disney backing it because Disney has more money than anyone. So even if different productions, if they need help, they'll go to Disney. So like
Right.
you could get hired. So it happened after I was awakened about Disney and I refused to ever work for them again. I got sent by Central Casting. How funny is that? You know what, right? They sent me to a production that on Warner lot before I knew Madison, so I didn't know Warner was bad at that time, but I thought it was okay to take. And we get there, after filling out everything, we see that Disney's the like the production of it, even though it's at a different lot. So I felt like they tricked us into going to work for them. So like, fuck, man, wait, can they just disappear? I love it when you talk about the NPCs, like, and the bad people just disappearing, dissipating into like being transmuted into particles of.
So you still live in LA right now, right?
Yeah, and they're not dissipating yet. They're still all here.
So tell me what you're seeing in that environment now in LA and what it's looking like. And are you seeing the military around, or what do you tell me what you're seeing daily?
Well, I am seeing a lot of white buses. More white buses than I'm seeing production signs. So that tells me it's not all production vans. Because a lot of them are like, you think most productions hire white vans to take their people from set to set locations, but there's very few location signs even up. And the casting directors I've worked with, they are just now telling me like they just now got one project. Like I think a handful of them have, so maybe there's a handful of productions actually happening, but there's 10 times more than that white buses or white vans all over Hollywood and North Hollywood. And I live by Universal Studios, and I remember you shared something about tunnels being here when there was a bunch of earthquakes.
Right.
And I was listening to you talk about it one night, standing in my apartment, and then literally an earthquake was happening. I was standing up like it was like I was surfing as you were talking about your vision of that happening, and that it was by Universal. And oh, that's like I could walk to it. It's less than a mile away. And so that is very weird because there's a lot of smoke coming from there. And that during that time, there was a lot of little earthquakes happening, right? So I
Right.
think you are right on with that for sure. I haven't felt any like that lately, but oh, I
So what do
did.
you see? I mean, what I'm saying is, and say, let's go with the 3-block radius with the military and the police departments and I've heard a lot of businesses have moved out of
Yeah,
Rodeo Drive and all this stuff. Tell me that you're
looks like a
seeing on the
ghost town.
destruction end of Hollywood what's happening.
Oh, it looks like. Do you ever see Back to the Future and they come back and on the bad timeline by accident?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it reminds me of that in some spots in Hollywood. Like, very, what the hell has happened here? Like, whoa, like ghost town, right? But then I drove through West Hollywood, I don't know, it was maybe a few weeks ago, and I saw something that said, like, what's the other word you were using for the centers that they're going to do? I
In
forget what.
Hollywood?
Yeah, for
No,
like
you're talking
people.
about those white basically it's a zone for the military and they have the tents and they have the concrete blocks and their gateways.
Yeah,
So you're
and
seeing
then
those up?
yeah, so I've seen a lot of those, and a lot of times they're supposedly, when you see those, it's a production, and literally it's supposed to be that. But I know that that's not what it is. Like, you can tell that that's not what it is. It's like outer wise, that's what it is, but the inner is like, no one's even there, but all this stuff is there as if it's going to be something, nothing
Right.
fancy, but just like this. Oh, they're setting up something like it looks like, almost, if you're not awakened, like, to an extent of the veil being lifted, then you would think, oh, they're setting up something for a set, or they're going to build a housing community or something. But I'm like, this looks like what Jenny was talking about. So, like, white tents and like a little medians or a little planters where trees are not fancy, but just like a basic
Right.
to
So
set
do you
people.
see the military vehicles
No, but no
around
one's
that?
there. No one's there. It's weird. It's like these spots are all over, but I don't see people there. I see trailers.
Okay.
Military drives through sometimes. Sometimes I haven't seen as many lately. When you were first sharing about it, um, before summer, there was a lot more um, that I saw. Um, it was around the protest times, but I haven't seen. I hear the cops all the time, but that's nothing new to LA. I don't feel like the cops are involved in anything besides harassing, but like doing whatever the rich
Are
people.
they really cleaning up the homeless out of the area and cleaning up the streets? Is that really?
No, no.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, I can't even walk around my block without. I mean, that's why I put my bell on the keychain, so the homeless people leave me alone.
Right.
They think I'm crazier than they are if I bang it loud enough, but it sends demons away. So if they're bad, then it shows. But some have actually, like, I see them like it, and it helps. So it's good to, like, give them that frequency as they pass by, and it also filters them out. But no, I don't see any military or cops doing anything to help them. I see downtown, where the protests were during that time, it was insane, and
What do you what do you see in activity at night? Or
I
is
won't
there
even go down.
helicopters? Are you seeing any drones? What are you seeing at night?
Yeah, at night, all kinds of things that I don't know what they are, and I try to take pictures and send them to you. But a lot of things that fly faster and quieter than planes. But then I also see planes, but I know the difference, right? So you know what a plane is. So then I
Right.
see something else, and it goes by in a totally different way than a plane, or it, like, lights up and then the light goes away. The other day, a few years ago, in the beginning of this, I saw, like, the alliance kind of formation of the A, the, what looked like military, but I'm sure they were probably galactic. I don't know, like the alliance, like Space Force, right?
Right.
Would fly by in these formations that I knew it was them, and I saw, and then I didn't see that for a while, and then I started seeing like cloaked ships. There was like
Right.
one even over Universal, and I asked other people, like, do you see that? And they were like, oh yeah, it looks like a storm cloud. I'm like, what? Okay, that's
So
what you
all
think.
the Hollywood
So
homes up there that the actors and the that have been removed and everything like that, are those homes just sitting empty now, or are they starting to take them down?
you can't really. Well, the place next door to me, which is not, it was just a random person apartment building. They just gutted it, but there were like homeless, weird, bad people doing spells and stuff there. So that's that. And then by Diddy's, his place looked like it was being fumigated, but that was
Right.
back then, and we know what happened with that. Um, I have tried to um, ask those who know about where so and so's live, and most of them have put their places up on for sale
Right.
from the sources that I have that know this
But see, the
place.
thing is, what's going to happen is no one's going to want to live in those homes because of what's the act and what has happened in those homes. I mean, I don't care
Right.
how much a
That's why
house
I
is, how
say,
nice it is. When they've done those type of acts in those houses, I mean, that's why people don't want to buy anything, because they know how bad and evil it is.
I know, and that's why I think the same thing about the you know, the amusement park, the studios. Every time we drive by the studios, I'm like, how is that still here? Where are the rods of God? I mean, how is it? I don't know. It's so crazy to see the 3D still standing when you're already like, you know, wanting. I'm just wanting the template to start building into 5D. I don't want to keep messing back around 3D, but I know there's people there who are trying to wake up and need help, you know. And so you inspire me the way you help people. I really try to learn patience from you. You're so good at helping all sorts of people through these days. So
Yeah.
you and Jeep and Gail, all three of you.
So,
Too.
so do you ever plan on leaving California or the LA area?
Ever since I found you, I've wanted to. Definitely. I even tried to manifest it moving a few
Mhm.
times. And then my husband ended up signing the lease again without really asking me. I mean, it's not that we like even had an option, because everything in California is expensive. So I was looking into Florida, especially when we were over there, and people were going over there. A lot of awakened people. I heard that there's communities of awakened people like starting, um, you know, like 5 New Earth communities. So I wanted to go there, but uh, my husband signed another year here, and I then learned that when we try to manifest something so hard and it's not the time, it's we're making it go longer, causing more resistance by continuing to try so hard and not make the best out of what it's like, where it's at. So I let it go, and I'm like, okay, I got to see. Obviously, I'm still supposed to be here, so I have to inform myself. So I listened to Jenny. I listened to uh, my other my friend who sent me you in the first place. She sends me a couple others, but you're the only one who I really always resonated with, and you helped me put real world, real time answers to what's going on, so that I can explain to people some, because people are starting to ask questions, especially as I go back and do like a fashion show or I go back to an audition. the other day at the audition, there was a girl who heard me say something about Lumeria, and she started getting like so excited, and she told me she just started awakening, and she realized that she's from Lumeria, another lifetime. You know, she got so excited about her awakening, and I saw that she's at the beginning. And so if I know there's more out there, like, so now I'm seeing the purpose to not only why I went through everything I went through, lived through it, and didn't go through worse, actually, because now I know people, friends, and people I'm helping who have gone through way worse, but similar. So I'm seeing the purpose through me having gone through it, and also putting a purpose to the pain, helping others through their version of it. And you are so good at doing that in your ways with your gifts. So I'm trying to translate that to my gifts here. So I've started reaching out to survivors individually as they come to me, and I try to do at least a monthly sound bath for survivors, because sound is what really helped me, other than you and a few others, and like the information. But after I put together all the pieces and realized what was happening, the healing came from the sound frequencies, the rebirth and the healing ultimately. Yeah, that's got to be probably the most powerful. I mean,
So
I love all the
where do you
modalities.
see yourself in 2 years?
I don't know. I would love to be building new earth community within the arts. I mean, it seems like a pipe dream when I talk to others about it here, but maybe you understand more. To like reform the arts, bring it back to like a divine place, rather than letting the dark forces who have infiltrated the systems and industries, or infiltrated our arts through the systems and industries. There's so many who I'm helping them, like, try to empower them to not lose their art within like running away from the evil. So, but they don't know where to run to. They're like, oh, but how do I, well, but I can't stop doing that. Like, I didn't go to college because I gave everything to this career. This is who I am. So where can they go, right? So I've been asking God, like, please send me I think I even talked to you about it almost a year ago. My humanitarian funds. I've been trying to, like, I've been getting downloads of it. I want to create higher frequencies within fashion, film, music, and arts, like a collective of us who do things in highest frequency.
Can I ask you, what do you see moving into LA, or what do you see type of businesses that are coming in, and what do you see that's being dismantled?
Well, seeing even one production company even wanting to do things the divine way the other day, literally a few days ago, that gave me a new hope that I didn't see before. I mean, I was thinking we all had to like run out of here and start a whole new Hollywood somewhere else. But I think Spirit was like, no, like, you think about it like a building that's on fire, and there's many of my creation in there, not realizing it's on fire. You realize it's on fire, so you protect yourself, you get the tools you need, you go back in there, and you be aware, because I'm going to show you some of my pups I need you to save, or I need you to help, or I need you to educate, or I mean, I don't even need to like try. I almost feel like I have this help. Oh, you have a question, you're not sure, come to, like, on my forehead. I just go to a fashion show, and it's models, photographers, makeup artists. It's not just talent, or it's not just models, right? It's like everyone within these productions, they're trafficking them. They're not paying anybody. And most of them, and a lot of them, they're charging even the photographers and the model. It's like insane. So I get so many horror stories, and so many of them ask me advice, and many I think now the ones who are starting to awake see that in me faster. So they're coming to me wanting answers of different things. And a lot of the Epstein girls too. And those are a lot of, I started writing down questions that I couldn't answer. And then I'm like, oh, but I have a friend, Jenny, who might answer. Maybe she'll know. We're all wondering, are any of our abusers going to see accountability? Or in our lifetime, are we going to live to see them get
Well,
accountability?
this is the thing that's happening. Each county, each state in their towns are going to have to be responsible, because Trump was right about the fact that they won't be able to walk down the streets because the citizens are going to be gathering them up themselves. And this is where these small towns, these bigger towns, once all this is out, it's exposed. And, Trump has deputized a lot of people, because this is a worldwide event. We have to annihilate and contain this evil in a process. And this is why it's such a chess game to catch these criminals and not be in a hurry. And everybody thinks it's dates, but it's a checklist of what things are completely done. And once the floodgates are done, this is the thing, what everybody thinks is going to have a slow motion of everything. Once the XRP is done, and that's completely done and over with, there's going to be floodgates of a lot of things going on, which I already sense and see in documentation that is happening. So, but the whole process, it's the reality of what was real in our world. I think that's the hardest concept for people to understand, what was evolved in the underground system, of how big and vast it is, that they're literally underground cities and they were building kingdoms down there. So all that information has to be surfaced on every level.
Yeah. Well, I know some of the Epstein girls are working with the Democratic Oversight Committee, and they're like wanting people who have any piece of any information or can corroborate anything to come forward. But it's hard to speak that to people when I mean, it's so, because you put politics right back into it, and the Democrats are like, I mean, both sides are bad, but like, I don't care
This is the
what
thing,
side.
the Democrats are a
Like, do
part
you
of the
trust
side.
that?
The
Do I tell
Democrats
them?
are a part of the side that they used ammo against them. That is why it gets so evil and so sick, that they'll go so far, because it's the same thing as Hollywood. They blackmailed them. It was all about an angle to make sure it's an insurance policy. And all of these people that did this is the thing. For myself, I can't fathom, if we don't clean this up, or we don't clean our world up, I can't fathom being here, because there's nothing left
I know.
to
I'm
be
so
here
glad you said
for.
that.
And I'm saying that in the way, I want children safe. I want them to be able to go down the street and play. I don't want to think the predators are coming after them.
Exactly.
And it's just wrong. And
I know. And I get Survivor girls, especially the Epstein and Diddy ones.
their own kids than you do
None of us
to be in a mountain or in a farm, because it's the safest place you can be right now. So,
and we don't want to share this planet with people who have done these kind of things. So when is that going to become clear to the rest of the people? Because it's getting really annoying to those of us who know, and it's like getting like cringe to keep sharing breath and air with, knowing that they put it out there that these men got away with this. And so these guys who were doing this stuff before now keep doing it.
but the thing is, you got all the judges and all the attorneys and all in sync in different states. Georgia is saturated. It's another state that's saturated in corrupt judges and corrupt attorneys, and all involved in protecting pedophiles. I mean, that's the whole thing. They have to get rid of the judges and the attorneys that are protecting the criminals. And that's where the next set that you're going to see with Trump of taking that down in that situation, because that's the last barrier. Once that is, the citizens can take care of this in the way they need to. So,
I can't wait for that to be the only Trump speaking during that time, because right now it's confusing to many of the survivors who are seeing the one that speaks of the hoax and gaslighting and like trying to pretend that nothing happened. Like, that's not the Trump that we voted for, right? But I can't. I've tried telling people like there's more than one Trump. I tried literally last night. My old roommate, we ran into my old roommate and some friends into a movie, which was hard for me to do. Any movie now is like so hard. I know it's too much.
Yeah.
But I tried to just enjoy this one. And it was still so bad. It was called The Hunt. It was about them. It was like okaying this kind of behavior, but they were speaking of the entire thing, like all this stuff, as if it was a joke. Like the way the public is out there is the mainstream one. And I'm like, you guys, there's 3 of them, and 2 of them are AI, one of them is real. And that's the one we don't really hear from, but that's the one who's doing real things. And they looked at me like I was insane. So I'm like, wait, okay.
So this is we're down to the end. We're down to the end of the show. So what do you, for yourself, for your soul, what do you want people to know for yourself that you're seeing, what you're witnessing, and that you want to see in the future?
I would like to see all of the dark forces who have hurt every innocent soul get clearly exposed and held accountable, so that we can cleanse the planet of that and build heaven on earth, like the original template a creator meant for it before. I hear it goes back even before Lemuria, but I would love to go back to Lemuria. I mean, or Tartaria. I'll take that.
Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah,
well,
go beyond the ice wall.
So, yeah, so we'll you know, we appreciate you coming on and sharing your story and telling us about what you've witnessed in LA and everything that you've been going through, and all with getting a spotlight life on trafficking right now. So,
yeah.
If there's anything last you want to say to the audience, this would be the time.
Well, especially Jenny's audience understands the importance of this topic being of urgency to, I mean, remind in some cases, but most cases it's inform and educate and show, because most, even if it's done right in front of their faces, under their noses in disguise, don't know, don't understand. Many survivors who are literally still stuck in it don't understand that they're being stuck in something. And it's interesting because stuck in trafficking, like traffic is, you're stuck, right? So it's every person who's stuck in an abusive situation that is taking advantage of them from a higher power that be, is stuck. And I pray all of those souls, I really want all of those souls to get free. And I think the only way that that's going to happen is for us to continue to educate, for those of us who know and who are learning and understanding and have gone through, for us to continue to educate and expose and share together, like Jenny's doing, and a handful of others. I would like to see more influencers and truthers really cover this topic in detail, because it is literally still happening and is literally not only Epstein. Like,
Right.
that's just an example. That's good. It's the one of the straws that's going to break the camel's back, but the camel's back is still breaking. There's more straws to this. Okay. And yeah, and I feel like people aren't understanding that, like how current and how far, I mean, how ancient it is, right? That they've been doing this, which I learned through Gail, how they've done it to souls and to humans, and the birth certificates to all of us in some way, shape, or form. That this is happening, being taken advantage of, being manipulated, being used, being exploited, being whether or not it was violent or abused, the coercion, the manipulation, the and for anyone who's gone through any form of abuse or belittle exploitation, and consider us all survivors of the old matrix. And so I feel like, I mean, for me, it started with like, I wanted to bring together the trafficking survivors and the industry survivors. But even in that, I'm seeing that like every industry has some form of taking advantage, abuse, and or you want to straight up call it trafficking situations set up. All these systems that are set up that are set up to belittle, harm, exploit, use, and abuse people. From immigrants literally still in the city as maids. I've seen some of their stories they've told me. It's horrible. I mean, it's also CPS. I have friends who are foster children who have told me horrible stuff. So it's literally in our society in many ways, and we need to be aware of it and supportive of those who are coming forward trying to make sense out of their stories. In order for them to make sense out of it and heal, they need to share it. For them to share it, they need to be supported and heard.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I got a new radio show, and I think I'll bring it on. I was going to put a board of several people that have done trafficking and deal with the investigator and stuff like that. So we'll set that up.
I would love to work with you on that and there's a few other survivors who want to share their stories, but they don't feel safe with anyone out there right now. So I've told them about you, and they want to, if you're open to them coming on and talking.
Yeah, that would be good. And I think, like I said, the YouTube's going to be good, but the radio show also that we're gonna
for sure. However you want to do it.
Okay.
The two I'm thinking of right now don't want to really use their face.
Yeah, and that's why it's easier for radio sometimes. If there's a risk. So anyway, we thank you for coming on and everything.
You.
So
thank you for
everybody.
being.
I hope you take this information, apply it to where you need to, and understand what's going on. So until then.
Yes, and well, all of your updates and explanations on this really help me deliver pieces of the puzzle to others out there right now in the field who need to make sense out of their own stories. So I, on behalf of all of them and myself, I appreciate you. You've been a pillar in the awakening, in everything that you authentically come forward and share so boldly and continuously. And just thank you so much. You've been a strength for many of us, and I hope you get to meet all of the ones who have been helped by something that you shared with me that I shared with them.
Yeah, that would be great. And
so,
hopefully there's an end to this in our world. That's the whole thing, is just I'll rest when there's an end to this process.
Yeah, that's what I say every day. I feel like
I'll rest when that happens.
Yeah. I wake up wide awake, like, what can I do today to help the survivors or help this situation? And so
okay, well, you have a wonderful day. Thanks for coming on. You guys, good night. Stay in the light.